40 years ago, we opened our doors with one mission in mind.
We'll be right back with the top 10 songs of 1983.
To sell quality American-made vehicles at a fair price.
You have arrived.
And we've loved every minute of the ride. Celebrating 40 years of Two Rivers Ford.
It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Titans made 5 new free agent signings official earlier today, and linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair, linebacker Luke Gifford, and outside linebacker Arden Key, as well as offensive linemen Daniel Brunskill and Andre Dillard. Also, a report earlier today that the Titans are adding to their defensive backfield. According to Jordan Schultz, the team is signing free agent corner Sean Murphy-Bunting to a 1-year deal worth up to $5 million. The former second-round pick out of Central Michigan spent the first few years of his career in Tampa Bay. The NCAA Women's Tournament picks up today. More second-round action. The Lady Vols trying to stamp their ticket to the Sweet 16, tipping off against Toledo at 5 p.m. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once in your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Blaine and Mickey today features Blaine and Mickey. We got the gang back together. Blaine Bishop back in town. He's went on spring break. I think he went all over the globe and hit Padre Island and Cancun. Senior Frogs. Those videos you were putting on your Insta story from Senior Frogs, man, that was amazing.
I was just trying to enjoy my time, but it was good to be off, good to be refreshed, man. A lot of moves being made, besides the NCAA tournament, naturally, in Tennessee winning, but, naturally, NFL is always going to be with free agency, signings here and there, and naturally, we always focus on the Titans. So, yeah, man, it was good to get off, but refreshing and great to be back.
So, as you're checking your phone, because you're always good about keeping up with things.
I try. I don't know if I was keeping up. I don't know, man.
Did you have again, because Blaine was out last week, got some R&R. We missed Thursday and Friday because of NCAA basketball, and hope everybody enjoyed the games. And they were a lot of fun like they always are and exciting like they always are. Did you leave, like, the Titans' first round of free agency, and they trotted those guys out today, and they all got to speak a little bit and talk to the media. Any prevailing thoughts from you? Because none of us were on Thursday or Friday to talk about it.
Oh, right. Well, naturally, I didn't hear him because the streaming was down, so I had to go avert. But just overall on the signing of the players, I actually love what he's done. We love what he's done. Now, that's not to say that every player doesn't have their weaknesses. Every player does. But I thought for the money, the value they got some guys who are, probably part-time starters, backup guys who want to prove that they can be starters in this league and believe they can, and you want to give them an opportunity, and they probably be really good because they'll be playing for a contract. I'm going to start with the Dillard kid first.
Yep.
Athletically, he has all the tools for a left tackle, blindside tackle. Now, I know he had some injuries early in his career with Philadelphia. I think he tore his bicep, and I forgot his other injury, and then someone else took his spot. Then they eventually moved him back to back into the lineup when they had some injuries themselves. So, and they had a really good offensive line. But that'll make me pause for a second because you go, man, why wasn't he starting full time for him to jump, and I think it was more so of injuries. Very athletic. There was nothing that really stood out besides him being an anchor for bull rushers. That's the only thing I saw. Now, compared to the guy I didn't want him to get, McGlinchey. McGlinchey was mean, nasty. I don't see that in him. He is an athletic. He can move. Okay. Like he can shuffle. He can get in front of you. He's really skilled. I just wanted to see a little more dog in him. But when you're athletic like that, a lot of those tackles aren't like that. They make sure they do their job, and that's not to say he's not tough. But I like what I saw. I think there's some upside and potential. I don't think he's exhausted his potential yet, and a lot of it probably because of his injuries. I don't know if he'll ever live up to the bill. I think he was a late first-round pick, like 22nd or something like that. But I love his athleticism. I want him to be a little bit meaner, basically, in the run game. But we shall see if he can anchor down and be mean, because that's kind of some of the traits that Vrabel likes, of course. So I don't know if they'll bring that out and bring the best out of him. So, so I think it's a security. If he doesn't work out, you can always move him to guard. I think he can do that. That may not be what he wants to do, but athletically, he's a tackle. And if you draft a guy, in the first round with the 11th pick or so, or wherever it's at, going to be potentially, you can move them to guard or tackle if it doesn't work out. You got competition there, I think, if you go that route with the draft pick. The linebacker guy and the other guard from 49ers, naturally, Rand has a great insight on them. I don't know how much input he had with them being drafted there, but he's definitely familiar with them at the 49ers and understand how good they play. Both of them started at different times, quality players in this league, potential starters. I think, at least the guard, I think he'll eventually start at guard. And then, the middle linebacker was a backup who played a lot because of injuries. And you see him on film a lot running around making plays. So I thought those were quality, prove-it type deals, cap-friendly and everything involved in that. So I like both of those too as well, especially when you lose Long and he can come in right away and replace him. That's kind of hard because I love Long, and I think this player has potential to be as good as that, and maybe even better because he's bigger. So we'll see. Who else did they sign? No, Nick Westbrook-Akina was back. And, he's hopefully they'll use him in the role what he should be, which is a 3 and a 4. Well, on a real good team, he's really a 4, can rotate in, give some guys some rest, and be productive. But when you put him as the 2 or a 1, not so much. Now, he can show you glimpses of that, but that won't happen. He had glimpses in one game that he could be a 1 all season. And that's kind of where he's 2/3 guy, quality player. So, who else did they sign in free agent? Not with the Titans. Trying to go through who all they had signed.
The 49er guys, Azeez Al-Shire, you mentioned, Daniel Brunskill, who's probably going to settle in.
The guys I didn't talk about.
Yeah. Tier Tart and Aaron Brewer, they gave a second-round tender, which means they're both going to be back. It's
they had to do that with Tart. I was a little nervous that Tart may get offered by somebody. Then you got Brewer, who I think could move inside to center. Mm-hmm. I think you can kind of see the picture where things could kind of work out that way and have a decent-looking offensive line pretty soon early.
Luke Gifford was the Cowboys special teams
team
like
guy.
They always have Nick DeZubnar. They always have a guy.
No, I watched a little bit of him. I saw him get a pick. I watched a lot of tape of him. I think he's a guy who's a dynamo on special team. If given opportunity, he may surprise us as a linebacker. And so I'm interested to see if he gets that opportunity. For sure, he's a backup. I think they brought him in as a special team guy. Another guy, when he got to play, he produced at linebacker. So I kind of like that. I think they're bringing him more in to be the special team guy in emergency if somebody gets injured, especially or one of the young guys don't step up. They've always had some form of injury or, pull or something. So, yeah, I like that too. Yeah, I don't think there was any of the signings that I didn't like. Now, he didn't do a lot of splash or no splash, and I'm fine with that because I think they're, cap-driven with kind of making those decisions, but he got great value with the players that they signed. Even the Dillard, some people didn't even like that. They didn't like that signing because he did not start. But if you go watch some video of him, you'll see why he can potentially be a starter and be a solid player. But We shall see. I don't, the offensive. I forgot the offensive line coach at Philly, but he's one of the best in the business, and I'm sure he learned a lot. But why was he consistently in the lineup even back when he got healthy? Yep. I know their line was great, but this guy was a first round pick, so that's the only thing I can really say, and that had nothing to do with him.
Yeah, you mentioned his injuries, talking about Andre Dillard, a torn bicep, and then he broke his forearm last year in training camp.
Okay.
And Blaine, people really like getting mad, like, oh, now this guy's injured too, but breaking your forearm is not like having perpetual hamstring issues.
Right. No, both of his injuries were, severe enough where you can't play, especially when you're an offensive lineman, so, your bicep torn, you can't punch, and then you got your forearm. So both of those are kind of related to being an offensive lineman, all with punching, lifting weights, where you got to be good at that. So that's a little alarming, a little bit, especially when you have a history of with previous players getting injured. So you always got a keen eye. But I think his athleticism just kind of overall, you just see him move and you go, man, McGlinchey didn't move anything like this guy. So and that's not to see, that's why I could say that. That doesn't mean he's still a better player.
Right.
As much McGlinchey I didn't like in pass sets, he was very inconsistent. Now you could say, Dillard is inconsistent in staying healthy and staying in the lineup, but a better athlete. So it's a combo there. So I think, they pay him like $7 million a year or something like that. It was something, where it's worth it. And if it doesn't work out, guess what? He's a proven guy that can back up. See, that's what I like, though. Yep. Insurance policy. If it doesn't work and you didn't overpay him, Bud Dupree, which I never wanted, right? See, so I thought that was a great move. So all his moves I thought were solid. That means he does his homework. He's scouting players. He understands what they can bring to the table. And it fills some shoes that they have some holes. If it doesn't work out, they also can double down and draft him. Only thing I wish they would have signed, I know they signed Nick Westbrook-Akina back, but NWI, but I wanted to see, and not have to be a splash guy, just a quality player as your player like Slayton. Like a quality player like that. Just for another veteran player who has a skin in the game, but also isn't a superstar and wasn't going to be asked for a lot of money, but a quality player, a step up from NWI, right? And so at worst case scenario, we got a 2, right? So then now we got him matched up, still young, matched up with Burks. See, so I loved your idea of Slayton after going back watching him and didn't watch a lot of film on him until you mentioned him that you liked him. I wanted to watch him, and I thought he actually showed better than I thought he would be. So, and then they signed him back to, I don't know if they did a 1-year or a 3-year deal, but, obviously he has some decent stats. He was naturally as fast as you mentioned at times. I saw him beat Darius Slay on one time, who I really think is one of the better corners in the league. So, I just wish we could have got that. And then guess why I say that? Is because now when you go into the draft, you don't sign anybody else until the draft. And now the cornerback I like too. Yeah, they just signed from Tampa Bay.
Sean Murphy Bunting.
So I like he can play inside and outside. He's got length too and can move. 6-foot guy from the MAC, second-round pick, didn't even stay his senior year, so he's got some talent there. Don't recall him when they had Tampa Bay scrimmaged him. I don't know if he was out there or not. I should remember because he had 2 last names, but and then he wore 23. So, which is a good number.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's got good taste in numbers for sure.
So I just wanted a veteran receiver, a 5-year guy or so who's in, middle. Then he can also teach Burks some of the tricks of the trade with all the Burks talent. So I like that. And then guess what? When you go into the draft, nobody is saying guaranteed besides offensive line that you're going to take what you're going to take and predict in the draft. And they could probably even maybe. They're scouting them a lot closer than I am. Maybe take an offensive lineman in the second round, take a receiver first round. You could kind of switch it up. Right. Or a cornerback. However you want to go, in what order you want to go in. And whatever best player available that you rated them. And that way you're not stuck in, oh, man, this guy, we really like a receiver, and he's rated higher, but we got to take a tackle. So I like their moves. I really do.
You mentioned the theme, and I'd written the same thing down and actually had talked to a couple of people. You said it. They took guys who appear to have upside that they think they can do more. That's the theme of all those guys.
Yeah. Because you've seen them start.
Yeah.
Most of these guys, we've seen them start for multiple games. You go, oh, wait a minute. Can you do it for an entire season? Let's see. And then we're not going to overpay. We're going to give you 1-year, 2-year deals. kind of prove a deal, incentivize you too as well, and then you get some incentive. And if you do what we think you can do or what you think you can do, you'll get paid. NFL, and not like $10 million, but they, they make it, it can make up to $5-6 million with incentives. So I love it.
All right, I got a number for you I want to share. You mentioned the wide receiver room. I'm like you. That's the one thing that I kind of left shaking my head about. It involves NWI's experience versus every other receiver that they have. I will share that number with you and everybody next. Also, it's time for Ding Dong of the Week. So line up the Ding Dongs. You got a lot of candidates. A lot of candidates out there. So 615-737-1045. And for the biggest Ding Dong of the Week, we have Talladega race tickets. Is that right, Lucas? You want Talladega tickets? Let's hear about your Ding Dong. Blaine and Mickey, 1045 The Zone. Ding Dong of the Week, brought to you by Mark Spain Real Estate. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing. Just like get some boxes from wherever you want to get them and put stuff in it and call Mark Spain, and he's ready to make that action happen, boss. Ding Dong of the Week, 615-737-1045. The winner this week gets a 3-day general admission passes to Talladega for race weekend, April 21, 2, 3. That includes tickets to the Geico 500. You want to go to that. I can promise you that. Before we get to the ding dongs, Blaine, I told you I would give you, maybe this is my ding dong right now.
What?
I'll just start out.
You gonna give me your ding dong now?
Yeah, right now. Everybody, Lucas, Robert, it's for everybody. The Titans' current wide receiver room. They brought back Nick Westbrook-Akina.
Oh.
He has 47 games of experience. The rest of the room, everybody, all of them together, do you know what they have? I love putting you guys on the spot like this.
Sorry, so you said that. Say that stat again.
NWI has 47 games of NFL experience. Do you know what everybody else in the room has that's currently under contract? All the people under contract combined.
20.
A little better than that.
Combined, I would say 35.
Well, that's close. Roberto, he bowed out. 32.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. 32. Yeah.
32
Robert
games of
killing me,
experience
man.
for everybody else in the room. 32.
Oh, he's the wily vet.
Yeah, by a mile. So it's Traylon Burks, Racy McMath, Kyle Phillips, Mason Kinsey, Reggie Roberson, Nick Westbrook-Akina. That's it. That's everybody.
And that's why I wanted him to sign a 5-6 year guy. Not a big splash guy, but
Doesn't
like
have
your
to be.
man Slayton,
Yep.
or dang. Yeah, that's the type of player you want to get, a proven guy. It's kind of like a little more proven than NWI with a lot more experience. So, yeah, that's a tough one there. That's ding-dongish. That's what I'm saying. They may go. We don't know. That 11 pick, they may go receiver, and it would kind of surprise people because everybody knows offensive line. But if the offensive line, granted you can get a better one, is deep and you think you can get one in the second pick, you may. I don't know. I wouldn't, but I'm taking the line because this team is built on running football, or protecting the quarterback. I gotta get that O-line. But just you want to have options.
Yeah. And what they did in free agency kind of gives them options. They have some options now. They really do.
Yeah.
I mean,
besides receiver.
Yeah. They got no options.
There's still going to be some more cuts even after the draft for some veteran guys, or after June 1st. So there's still a possibility they could add on to what they have, even still now. Who's to say that they're done? Besides what they did with the cornerback here, what was that, yesterday or so? Yeah.
Early this morning, they got reported that he was going to visit, and then Jordan Schultz of the Schultz Report reported like you and Lucas get up time, like 5 a.m., that he was just going to sign here.
Oh, okay. That's why I said, yeah, I was up. Yeah, I'm up early. Yeah, he signed a 1 year, $5 million. I don't know if it was incentivized or not, but that seems like a pretty good deal when, this guy's got a lot of skin in the game and proven. And he was another guy that kind of started, then didn't start. And then, so.
He's 25. He'll be 26 in June, but he's 25 right now. He's got all this experience.
Yeah.
Ding Dong of the Week, 615-737-1045. Eric usually jumps in first, and he will jump in first today. What you got, Eric? Thanks for calling.
Yeah, hey guys, first of all, the other calls, they don't have to worry. I'm taking myself out of the running for the Talladega deal because I know there's a lot of people who enjoy that more than I will, so I'm disqualifying myself from that. But guys, I've got a couple of ding-dongs, guys, and there's so many different directions that could go, but the first one, I've got to go to the golfer Sergio Garcia, and you probably heard about this. So over the weekend during this televised golf tournament that was on NBC, of course, when you're out on the golf course and everything like that, you got to go. Yeah, I mean, it just happens. So apparently he went. But here's the bad part about it. It was in camera shot where you could see him doing his business, and it was a camera shot of him. If you're going to do that, you got to make sure that you're nowhere near in camera shot where somebody can see you doing that. So that's my first ding-dong. And my other ding-dong, guys, the world of college basketball. I know a lot of people have been giving Tennessee a hard time for not getting to the Sweet 16, and they've also given Virginia a hard time for not getting to the Sweet 16 or advancing, but at least they've won the national championship in the last few years. So, but, guys, my ding-dong has got to go to Purdue University. Do you realize, guys, in the last 3 years, they've lost to double-digit seeds? guys, that is not good. If you're going to be this great basketball program, you can't lose 3 years in a row to a double-digit seed. That is a bad look, guys. They need to get it together. I don't know what they need to do, but they got to get it together. Guys, y'all take care. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Whizzing Sergio and Matt Painter in Purdue. Yeah, for what Virginia in the last 4 years, it's won a championship and lost 3 times to double-digit seeds in the first round.
Yeah, some people would take it, though.
National championship.
Yeah, UT take
Sign me up.
Yeah, I'd be all in.
Oh, sign me up for all the championships. Heck, sign me up for a winning season in any sport at my college right now. I would take it. Carl in McMinnville up next, 615-737-1045. Carl, what's going on?
He just left the Ferris of the Fair, huh?
Yeah. Good afternoon, gentlemen. My ding-dong of the week goes to the professional sportsmanship of Penny Hardaway for chucking the water bottle after the game.
Oh, I didn't see it. Oh, after they lost?
Hey, Carl, did they make the right call? And that's no excuse.
A lot of
to
people
get
said it was a bad call. I don't
chuck
know.
your water bottle. Was it the right call or not?
Does it matter or not?
He
No,
still
I just
shouldn't have done
I've
it.
been coaching a couple of different sports, and I haven't went that extreme.
No, I'm just serious. You obviously watched the game. I'm just curious if you thought it was the right call or not. I'm not justifying the water bottle
Oh,
throw.
no, definitely not.
I really don't think it was the right call.
Yeah.
Got you.
Thank you, Carl. Yeah, a lot
Good
of
one. Good one.
Penny's, and he just threw the thing. Like it wasn't threw it down. Like they kind of show him, and he just takes the water bottle.
But it did look like he was targeting somebody?
Yeah, no, I don't
like
know.
the
I don't know
referee?
where it went. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he did. Here you go, ref. I really wanted to see them in Tennessee play.
Oh.
That's the reason I'm the most mad about that. As soon as the bracket got put out, our own Lucas Panzica had tweeted, "Oh my gosh, we could get Memphis and Tennessee out of this bracket."
Oh, wow.
And Tennessee holds up their end of the deal, and Memphis did not.
I bet people would have bet it would have been the other way around based off who they were playing.
Oh, yeah, just going into the tournament and everything else. But, yeah, Rick Barnes and the boys, Sweet 16 bound.
No, yeah, they were playing man ball, not AAU ball.
Oh,
yeah, that's what they were doing. Duke was playing AAU ball. They were playing grown man ball. Boom. Oh, they didn't call foul. Nope, they didn't. Sorry. Blachik's on the bench. His elbows are on the bench. So, yeah, they didn't know how to deal with that for a whole half. 21 points. They came out second half trying to get all physical, and then that ain't their game.
They can't do that.
Yeah, and then they're young. You know, they're freshman, sophomore, where, UT got grown men out there. Yeah,
Plavsic, like, checked his elbows on the plane and then unpacked them for the game. He was like, all right, everybody's getting some of this.
You know what, man? I could be completely wrong about this. Barnes didn't seem to get mad about anything that was going on with him. Yep. I was wonder if he said, "Hey man, we need you to get physical with that." That All-American guy they got out there, Flip Optics or whatever his name is.
Yep.
And because it wasn't like it was out of the ordinary. I just think he just went a little overboard because I didn't think he really hit somebody really hard with the elbow. It was a little exaggeration and all those things. And then I think he was fine with that. I wanted you to beat him up. That's what he did.
They beat that guy up.
Hey, so sometimes
they cut
it turns
him
out
on the elbow. On the face. That was an accident too, by the way. And that happened.
Sometimes it turns out to be a bit of a win-win with Plavsic when that happens because there are many moments late in games where Tennessee fans are screaming at the TV, "Get him out of the game!" So when he's picking up those early fouls, it's great because it sets the tone physically. He's got 3 fouls by halftime, and he's not going to be in those crucial crunch time
moments. And you get
moments.
to see how the referees are going to call it. And they let him play, and that led right into UT. That's right up there.
Like you said, 21 points.
They only got 21 points, man. I was like, ugh.
And Duke had won, 9 in a row or something coming in? They've been red hot. They were a lot of people's trendy pick to really make some noise in the tournament. They beat them up.
Yeah, they were no match for grown man ball. Nope, that old AAU ball they were playing out there, didn't work.
Running, gunning, and funning.
Yeah.
And then a big 7-foot-tall guy just hit people everywhere.
Oh, and we cannot Kamwa. Man, he had a career day. Well, I think he tied to 27 points.
Texas.
Texas, because at UT, I remember watching that. I was like, dang, he looked like Grant Williams. Inconsistent, though, all season. But, man, then he was hitting threes like Lucas. I couldn't believe it. Did he miss one?
He was 3 of 4.
He was 3 of 4. Yeah, he missed that 4. But he
that one in the
3 of
corner.
3.
He missed the one in the corner.
Yeah,
that's right.
It was a good look, too. He had to let it
fly.
fly.
It was online, too, man.
Had the ridiculous one-handed putback jam. He showed it all.
With the one hand off the rim or the alley-oop foul, and one. Which one was better? Because I was going to tell you to tweet that out. I don't know which one of those plays was better. I mean, naturally, the dunk gets you you jump off your couch and, get all pumped up. But, hey, man, that alley-oop there, that was and one. That was a pretty incredible play.
Julian Phillips had a nice one off an inbound, too, and a little alley-oop.
Yeah, but he didn't have 27 points.
No. He had like 4.
Right, I know. But, yeah, it was nice.
Hey, man, you're going to match your career high? Hey, do that in March. That's how you get remembered. I mean, it's send your team to the second weekend of the tournament, and he did it. Ding Dong of the Week calls. We'll go back to these next. Kyle here in Springfield. Talladega race tickets on the line for your Ding Dong here. What you got, Kyle?
All right, man. So you got, how you got your Xfinity Series in NASCAR, right? It's like your AAA, basically.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing the race on Atlanta this weekend. One of the guys under caution, he got black flagged because he had a part fall off his car. They told this man to park his car. Apparently, he was not very happy. He proceeded to park his car on the start-finish line, hopped out, walked across the middle of the infield to pit road, and they were like, what are you going to do if they find you? He's like, well, I ain't got enough money to pay it. They're going to have to find somebody else.
Wow. Now, I normally watch some of the Xfinity race, but I had kids stuff this weekend.
You didn't see that?
I did not. Normally, I would have seen it. I did not see that.
I'm surprised that wasn't all over the place. I didn't see it on SportsCenter nowhere.
Boy, that's the kind of thing. There's a lot of people fighting for very few seats, and you show your butt like that.
Josh Williams was the driver.
Josh Williams left his car at the start.
That wasn't Jonah Williams. That was Josh Williams.
He abandoned his car right on the start finish line.
Find me. I'll be back racing at my local dirt track.
That sounds like something
Thursday.
Robert would do right there, man.
100% Robert would leave his car.
But what are they going to do? Find him? I don't got enough money to pay that fine. They're going to find somebody else. They can find me.
That's what the sponsors are on the car for, man. When I used to play that back in the day, my family used to play NASCAR. I was terrible at it. So I used to put my car in reverse, turn it around, and drive in reverse and try to wreck everybody else in the race. That's exactly what I would do.
Robert.
There you go.
Thomas in Nashville with the Ding Dong with Talladega tickets on the line. Now, a NASCAR-themed call for NASCAR tickets is pretty good. What you got for us, Thomas?
Ooh, good one. Nice.
Well, Kyle actually just stole my thunder, so I was going to switch mine over to the North Carolina the Duke for the way they were flopping on all them calls yesterday. But that Xfinity deal was funny, man, because he said, what are y'all going to do, fine me? I don't have the money to pay the fines anyways. But thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Thomas. Man, 2 Xfinity Series calls. That's a first. Brian in Clarksville up next. Ding Dong of the Week time. Hey, Brian.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
Hey, so my Ding Dong of the Week is Elijah Martin from FAU with his windmill dunk at the end of the game over FDU. Nobody was trying to foul him. Everybody was backed off. They conceded the game, and he comes in with his monster jam at the end of the game, looking like a real jerk.
And bricked it off the back of the iron, and it bounced about 100 feet in the air. Then his coach had to go and apologize in the handshake line.
Oh.
They called off the dogs, and he was like, I'm about to just flush this thing. And
how much were they up, and how much time left?
Oh, it's the end of the game. It's the clock expired.
Watch this. We asked the Young Bucks, do you think that's good sportsmanship or you don't care and you can do whatever you want to do?
I don't give a rat's behind.
I knew he would say that.
In the game, get some style points, man. And if he would have hit it, the worst part is that he did not make the dunk. It foinged off the back of the.
It went 100 feet in the air. Captain trips in his own TV
chat. Remind me what that guy
cares?
from Vanderbilt did. He hit a dunk and then he came back and missed one. And Stackhouse didn't show any expression or anything. He just kept letting him play. He didn't even dang man, what are you doing? He didn't do anything.
Boy, Vandy's got a nice little run going in NIT. They had to conjure up some memorial magic to roll through that last game.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, people in the Zone TV chat, Nick said it is bad karma, though.
See?
That's bad juju, man. You know, they call off the dogs. You just
watch this. Robert, when you hear bad karma, what is your response to that?
I think about that fella parking his car on the finish line. I think that was bad karma, too.
Boo.
That's
man,
so
you went
bad.
there zanies, man. Come on, man.
That's so bad.
I
hope this is better. Chris in Nashville with a ding dong for Talladega tickets. What you got, Chris?
Blaine kind of stole my thunder with the Vanderbilt kid. He's on a breakaway.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And all he had to do was he could have laid it up. He could have dunked it straight up, but he tried to do some kind of windmill dunk and bricked it. And then they only won by like a point or so. So it's like that dunk, really missing that dunk could have held the game in the balance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You don't hot dog. We don't have to. I mean, that point would have mattered big time.
Yeah, I'm sure they would.
I
They
was,
would like
I was
to have
definitely
had that down
concerned
the
it was going to
stretch.
come back to that, and they were going to say, if you would. But it didn't.
Wait, so Vanderbilt and FAU both pulled that over the weekend.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if it was on the weekend. It might have been at the end of last week. I can't remember. It was the game before the last game.
Okay, when they beat Yale.
It was not against Yale. No. It was the game before that, right before that. Might have been even the regular season. I can't remember. Wasn't against Yale.
Yeah, their NIT games have been Yale and
Michigan. Yeah, they beat Michigan.
Oh, it was the Michigan.
Okay.
Oh, so it was the last game.
It was
we were
Michigan.
talking about them playing
It
Yale.
was
and it's
Michigan. I'm
like-
sorry, because I'm getting confused. I was all over the place traveling, but it was Michigan, yeah.
It's
I was
like, what do you
oh,
think
man.
the average ACT score was out there between Vanderbilt and Yale?
I don't know, something with a whole bunch of zeros.
I think that's the other one that has the
all
zero.
four of us probably, well, I can't speak for them, but yeah, for me, for sure.
Cannon
Hey,
and
man,
Dixon.
I got to 1,000, so I'm reaching my goal.
Let's get to Cannon and Dixon and see if he's got his goal of ding dong of the week here. Cannon, what you got for us?
Yeah, I got the FAU and the Fairleigh Dickinson game. They were up 78-70, and Elijah Martin tried to go in for a 360 jam right at the end of the buzzer and bricked it off the rim.
And it failed miserably. Fail Army. I mean, if you're going to do that, at least make it. Get credit for the 2 points. My man got nothing but scorn and contempt from the entire world. All right, we got a couple more calls. We can get those on the way out. Blaine Bishop, Lucas Panzica, Robert, if you'd care to share your ding-dongs of the week. Then we'll take the final calls in the next segment.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah, what you got?
My ding-dong, I just tweeted it out. And, it took a long time for me to tweet out that ding-dong. It was Charles Barkley.
Chuck?
And I even put on there, what the heck are you talking about, bro? And this has to do with, he said when his first year in the league that they would shower with their jerseys on to wash them for the next game. I was like, what the heck are you talking about? Kenny Smith lost it. He was like, what? No, wait. What are you talking? And Clark Carolina, Special K was like, no, wait. Be quiet, Kenny. Be quiet. I want to hear what he got to say. So, yeah, let's hear it.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, it's so much stuff that goes into this. And shout out to all the trainers also. To have, and the guys who do all the uniforms, to get these uniforms cleaned up and everything. 'Cause, I mean, I'm so old. We used to take a shower in our uniforms because, because we flew commercial my first few years.
Wait, time out. There's no era where you did it.
Yes, it is.
Stop, you're making this up.
No, I'm not.
There's no way that you were supposed to wash your uniform with it on.
When I first,
You're making this up.
I'm not making this up.
Let him finish. I've never heard. No one in the right mind has ever done that.
Let him finish.
Kenny,
Please,
when
do.
I-
Let
when I-
him
when I
finish.
And soap, they give you soap.
Let him finish,
No.
Kenny.
When I first got to the NBA, we flew commercial.
Yes,
that's accurate. I'm not disagreeing with that.
So when
That's
you
not what I'm
played the
disagreeing.
night before and flew the next morning, when was you exactly going to get your uniform clean? You had to wash your uniform yourself. So after the game, when you got to your room, you took a shower in your uniform and dried it and dropped on the commercial airline the next day.
Were you with Jed Clampett?
No,
That's why you had to let him finish.
Come on. Yeah, have you ever heard of this in your life, Clark?
Well, how are y'all cleaning y'all uniform? Y'all playing in funky uniforms?
No, somebody
Wash in the dryer or someone else.
When you're flying the next morning.
You can clean your uniform without showering in it.
Well,
That is possible.
After-
You can actually clean it without showering in it.
In it. You don't have to have it on.
No, but it's easier to do it that way.
So I text Charles, was like, hey, man, real talk. Serious. He said, nah, that was real. And so I came back with a joke, said, hey, man, you been on the grind, man. Your suits are getting baggy now, man. You've been working out. He said, yeah, appreciate it, though. That was it. I didn't want to go to work because he had pretty much explained it all. But he was like, yeah, no, my first year with the 76ers in 1984. Yeah. He said, I just did it that way because
They were coming off an NBA championship.
I hope it was like shoes, socks, and the whole deal. He just walked right into the shower.
To me, I wanted to say, Charles, well, you just being lazy just said, if I got to wash it, I'm going to just wash it with it on. So you just grab the soap and just start rubbing it on your jersey while you're in the shower, man. That was hilarious. I couldn't believe it, man.
Those guys are the best. Those guys are the best. These ding-dong calls are the best. We'll get to Lucas's when we come back as well. Is yours. Hold on, 615-737-1045. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Charles Barkley washing his own uniform in his shower. Lucas, can you beat that with your ding dong of the week? Again,
No.
courtesy of Mark Spain Real Estate.
It's the only time I've been able to beat Lucas at anything.
I
right?
can't beat it, but I am going to go back to.
Can't beat Blaine's ding dong.
I cannot.
Let's hear yours. Let's hear it. What have you got there?
You said it, so I didn't have to. I'm going to circle back to the folks crying about the Tennessee Duke game.
Oh, we're back to this.
Yeah,
Okay.
You're talking about the fan bases, right?
Well, I just saw this from Jay Billis, this quote from the Colin Cowherd podcast, where Jay Billis, who I enjoy Jay Billis, I think he does a fantastic job, and he said to Colin Cowherd, that Tennessee Duke game that you're referencing was not a basketball game. It was a hockey game. It was officiated like a hockey game. There were fouls that were flagrant fouls that were not called flagrant. I can't understand why. I've talked to several officials about it. All of them seem to agree that that should not have happened that way, but we're seeing that more and more. Was it that bad?
No.
Like they were physical and people, guys were getting beat up and Filipowski had a cut under his eye, but like for me that was just a good physical basketball game where one team couldn't match the physicality of another team.
And like Blaine said, the elbow in the eye, they were going for the ball. That was
an accident.
That was
they
that
were
was
up in the
literally
air.
an accident. Sorry if people hate the word literally, but that was the definition of an accident. They just ran into each other.
And the referees let them play.
They did.
So I just think they play a different brand of, basketball in the SEC.
And like a lot
of grown man basketball.
They looked at some fouls to see if they were flagrant. There was where Vescovy kind of whips the ball around and a Duke player, I think it was Roach, caught it on the nose.
faked
But
it out.
I mean, the ball hits him on the they were just playing physical. That's all it was for me. While we're talking about college basketball, Bert just showed me a Woj bomb, by the way, that Rick Pitino is now the coach at St. John's.
St. John's. Huh?
Yeah, I'd heard a little birdie that.
That was all over social media that was happening, right?
Yeah.
It's just finally
been in the
sealed
works for a
deal.
while.
St. John's. They're the Redmen?
The Redmen, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of what you were talking about there, Lucas, I just wanted to add this. I saw next opponent by UT, FAU, right? The Owls.
Mm-hmm.
Their head coach said, this is a question I'm going to have for Ben McKee here in the second hour is, okay, go ahead, play it.
We're going to study Australian rugby rules and get ready for the Vols.
Yeah. Basically said they play a physical brand of ball, translating, I need to study up on Australian rugby rules to get ready for Tennessee basketball. Spat, pat, pat, pat. Yeah. He's already throwing daggers. Ain't even touched the floor yet. 3 days away. 2 days now. Yeah. So, yeah.
Already
can't wait to get. I hope the referees now going to be all tight whistle, everything now.
Yeah, we're going to learn. I think we'll probably learn pretty early how this game's going to be officiated.
So if I'm Barnes, I tell them, don't come out and do that this time.
Yeah.
Don't come out. Don't give them any reason to call it early. But I'll tell you what, we get the second half, we're going to switch it on.
I'm going to tell Plastic to do the same thing.
Just go right
Plastic.
out.
It was right out the gate, too. It was like the first sequence.
Plastic's go ahead and burn his 3 fouls as quickly as he can in the first half.
Make sure you this time, though, you get a bruise somewhere.
All right,
Make it worth your while.
Plastic only. All right, 3 more ding-dong calls. We'll pick a winner in the break.
Does Robert have one?
I always got a ding-dong for you.
Well, let's hear it.
Mine's NCAA tournament, too. So, I don't know his first name, but Coach Musselman.
Eric Musselman.
Musselman.
Take his shirt off here.
For the Arkansas, they beat Kansas.
Yep.
So I have no problem with celebrations like that. I love when people are boisterous. But let me tell you something. If your last name is Musselman, and you're going to pull your shirt off, and you look like you couldn't fight your way out of a wet paper bag. You remember back in the day when people's last names were indicated off their jobs? Like if you were a cobbler, your last name would be Cobbler. Or if you were a smith.
A shoemaker.
Shoemaker. Like, change his last name from Musselman because he looked like everybody at the Y trying to play basketball. You can't come out there and pull your shirt off and you got no muscles to speak of.
Pillow man.
Oh my!
Pillow man.
Hey, I bet Musselman is a scrap. He doesn't look like it, but I bet he'll bite your ear off.
Yeah, I think he's a.
Well, then make him Scrappy Man, but he ain't no muscle man.
No, Robert over there with the old soul with the last name and stuff, man. That sounds like something me and Mickey would say. Right there.
Well, if you're a banker, then your last name is Money Holder.
Yeah, you get it. Mickey understands.
Yeah, that's the ticket. Yeah. All right, Philly, Mike, and Franklin, save us from Robert's ding dong. What you got, Philly?
Help us.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How you doing, man?
You got it. Appreciate it.
Hey, I do remember being in Philly. The Sixers used to practice at St. Joe's, so Julius Erving, Moses, and Bobby Jones probably made Charles do some rookie things, so it's probably true. But in terms of my ding-dongs, I had two quick ones. The two officials who blew the call, Memphis had two players call timeout or make the timeout sign. They didn't even call it. And the second one was for the fifth-year senior for Virginia throwing up that lame duck of a pass. He had one timeout left. He had a guy on the baseline available to throw. To throw that pass to turn into a three-point shot to put him out, those are two ding-dongs, man.
Yeah, that was pretty ding-dongish. That was brutal.
He's right about the Memphis game. They should have gotten that timeout.
Should have gotten the
timeout.
timeout. Yeah, they should have. Cody in Springfield with a ding-dong. Hello, Cody.
Hey guys, how y'all doing?
Good.
And my ding dong for the week, and it's probably what a lot of people in Middle Tennessee is thinking right now. It's got to be the Tennessee Titans. It's one thing after another, from telling Big Jeff we don't know how we're going to pay him, to shopping Henry, to now we got to get the mayor's got to take a pay cut. It's like they just want Tennessee fans to, anytime you look at the phone or look on the TV to see what the latest news is with the team, you can't help but be like, what? What are we thinking?
Yeah. We definitely have to talk about that on the comeback here after the break, after the ding-dong.
We sure do. One final ding-dong. Eddie in Bowling Green, who was in the cachet here. Eddie, what you got?
Well, I got a couple of quick with the NCAA. One was I think it was the coach of FAU that made the comment about having to study the rugby rules before he played Tennessee in the tournament this weekend. And then the other one was that reporter that actually asked the question to the K-State coach, Jerome Tang, about how did it feel to be beat by a prestigious program like Kentucky. Of course, I loved his response when he said, well, we're kind of a prestigious program ourselves. But how do you ask somebody like, it's not like they got beat by like Fairleigh Dickinson or one of these little MAC schools, tiny schools or something. They got beat by, a top conference school.
Well, they're actually they're still playing there.
Yeah, the question was, how do you feel about beating a traditional program like Kentucky?
Right,
because they did beat Kentucky.
Yeah, then he went in the locker room, had some shimmy to him. Old Tang is having a nice run for himself
Tang
here.
has some wing.
All right, we'll pick a winner for Ding Dong of the Week in the break. We'll let you know who won the Talladega tickets. Hour number 2. We got to get into some Titan stuff next. You want to get into that? Come on back.
The mayor.
We'll be in it.
It is 2:02. Good afternoon from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Titans made it official. 5 new free agent signings earlier today. They all spoke with Titans media as well. They are linebackers Azeez Al-Shaair and Luke Gifford, as well as outside linebacker Arden Key and offensive lineman Daniel Brunskill and tackle Andre Dillard, who made it clear he has his sights set on the starting left tackle spot for the Tennessee Titans. Andre Dillard, a former first-round pick, and Philadelphia Eagle. Titans are also reportedly adding to their defensive backfield. According to Jordan Schultz, the team is signing free agent corner Sean Murphy Bunting to a 1-year deal worth up to $5 million, a former second-round pick and former Tampa Bay Buccaneer. The NCAA Women's Tournament picks up today. More second-round action. The Lady Vols trying to stamp their ticket to the Sweet 16, tipping off against Toledo at 5 p.m. Sweet 16 begins in the men's game on Thursday. Tennessee has a date with FAU on Thursday night, but some news in the college hoops world as Iona head coach Rick Pitino has agreed to a deal to be the next head coach of St. John's, a 6-year contract, according to ESPN. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once in your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Ding Dong of the Week has been awarded to Eric with the fantastic NASCAR call. Eric will go to Kyle. Sorry, Eric. Eric's like, wait a second.
Eric,
I'm not going to. I was looking at Eric. He was the first caller. Kyle, who had a fantastic NASCAR
Eric
call.
told us to pass it along because he wasn't going to go.
He did. Eric's always very kind, always wants to share, but never wants our prizes. So Kyle wins the NASCAR tickets, 3 days general admission to Talladega. That'll be here soon, April 21, 2, and 3. Hopefully the weather will be warmer by then because it has not been lately. Things got warm around here over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Schefter reported this weekend that the Titans approached Kevin Byard about a pay cut. But this is what he wrote. But the Pro Bowl safety does not believe his play warrants a decrease in salary. Byard has wanted to play for one organization and ultimately retire as a Titan. But the two sides are at a crossroads. That's a quote. Then later, Teron Davenport reported Kevin Byard has not asked for the Titans to release him. So there's another side of the story. He has a $19.6 million cap hit, Blaine. He is set to make about $14.1 total in salary with a roster bonus and then his cash that he's slated to earn. He restructured his deal last March. So he's got another year after this year of just contract. Then he's got 2 years of that dead money where they tack on just void years at the end of your deal. So he's got another year. So 2 more years under contract, then 2 years of dummy money, essentially, that they'll just pay dead cap on. But the Kevin Byard stuff, you once played safety for this team and you played really well for a long time. And then eventually your time ended here.
And then it ended. Like they all do, right?
And it ended for Steve McNair.
Bruce Matthews.
And it ended for Eddie George. And it ended for a whole bunch of other guys. And then and Samari Roll and D. Mace and a bunch of people went and they played somewhere else.
Yeah. The only thing they didn't have for sure, and myself included, didn't have Hall of Fame behind them. Bruce Matthews never played for nobody else.
He did not. He played till he was done playing.
Yeah. So what I'm getting at is it was reported that he asked to be released. So that part, we don't know if that's legit, right? I'm just asking Luke because I know he's our media guru.
Buck was saying on the show earlier today that he has been told that is not at all the case, that he has not asked for a release.
Well, okay, I'm going to just say this. If someone says, take a pay cut or we're going to have to release you, then what are you actually telling if you say, I'm not taking a pay cut? See what I'm getting at? That's what happened. Even though he may not have said it, his agent might have said he's not taking a pay cut. He doesn't deserve to take a pay cut. He didn't play. He played at a high level again. As I said before, I'm gonna start tweeting out everything that I say.
You need to start tweeting out what you
because I said this as soon as Rand was hired that the star players that make a lot of money are all up to debate if they're going to be on the team next year. And that's what they've done, actually. They should have shopped Byard, too. Maybe they did, and they just didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Byard, King, and everybody's going to say, well, why would you do that? They are not going to say it. They are rebuilding, period. There is no retooling. There is no nothing, and that's what I said they should do. Now, the only thing is they're still going to ride out Tannehill, looks like, for another year. And after that, he'll be gone. Rest assured of it. Because really, for a quarterback, they're getting him for cheap. In this situation here, it's unfortunate. It's the way of the world. And here's what I say, and I don't really blame Rand. I still blame JR for this one. And it has nothing to do with Kevin Byard. And nobody has said this. It's because you have too much capital in the safety position. What did you just sign Hooker for? 10 million, right? 10, 11 million a year. You cannot put that much money into the safety position. Guess why? It's called safety. It's safety. We can only do so much. Too much capital. So as soon as they signed Hooker to that money, it was always going to be in my mind up to debate if Byard, reason why, not to say he's a better player, age, time in the league, they're going to go after that guy, not the guy they just signed, who missed, by the way, what, 6-7 games last year? All serious injury, sprained knee and ankle and all these things. He hadn't missed any time before that, really, extensive time. So that's what happens. You're only supposed to allot so much money. I said this at the time when JR did this, at each position group. Now, sometimes you kind of go overkill a little bit, and that's what they did this past season. Well, now Rand comes in for the cleanup. I got to clean up all these things to make it where I can function correctly and do what I want to do. And so they may have to ride it out. Now, here's what I will say. Old Mayor better be careful. He better be careful. And the reason why I say this, timing is everything. They can nuts and bolts you all day long and wait till when? June 1st. And guess what? The type of money you want will not be available for other teams. See, so timing's everything. So you got to be careful. So here's what I would do if I was Byard. By the way, Byard, Henry, they'll never admit it, and they won't go play for a playoff contending team. They don't think the Titans are a playoff contending team. They don't want to be part of a rebuild. So actually, they want to be somewhere else so they can. That's the finishing icing on the cake for their careers. He'll never admit that. And I always want to play for the Titans. Well, guess what? I would have said the same thing if they were paying me $14 million. I always want to play for the Titans. This is where I want to start my career. I want to end my career. You heard me say it first. I'm the mayor. This is what happens. This is called semantics, right? This is called PR. Because guess what? Usually the player always going to look bad, right? Well, in this case, he's there, if not the best player, one of the best players, the best player on defense. I mean, you could say Simmons is, but he's not making that kind of money yet. So, and he's the captain, and he's been here for a while. So I think once your number gets to a certain point, you have nowhere to go but down as far as where you're going to be with the team. So maybe they'll trade him and get some value for him, or maybe they're just going to eat it and ride it out one more year because of how great a player he is and what he brings to the table, not only to the team, but to the city, and in the community and everything else. And everything he exudes, just a pro's pro. It's just unfortunate. But, yeah, I said all those guys are going to be up for debate, all the high-priced players, Tannehill, Henry, Byard. I said it weekly, and this is what's happening because that's the only capital they have to sell to other teams. That's it. And it's getting to a point where they can't even sell them for that salary. So they're saying, hey, take a pay cut. So if it was me, I would take a pay cut. Here's the reason why. Cost of timing, and they can nuts and bolts me.
Right.
So I would take it down to 10, so me and Hooker are on the same level as far as pay, but I'm just older. I'm 30. He's, 26 or whatever he is, right? And then, but I would throw this caveat in there for the Titans to give them feel like they got something. They got me with the pay cut, but I also get something. Now, I make $10 million per the next 3 years, this year included, so 2 more after this year, guarantee my salary. Bang. So basically you're doing a 3-year, $30 million guaranteed contract. Now, you're cutting yourself short because you were making $14 a year, and just say if you rolled it out for 3 years, which you probably wouldn't have made it to that third year anyway.
Right.
See what I'm getting at? So you would have got 2, so that's 30, 28. So that's basically now you got you an extra year, and you are with the organization you started and finished. Not too many people could say that. That's what I would say. I give you something, you give me something back. That's it. If not, then ask me. And guess what? And after that, then I would go play somewhere else for less because that's what's going to be out on the market. He not going to get no $14 million.
Yeah.
He may not get 10. At 30, they're just going to say it. It doesn't matter what he did last year. They're betting the odds that if it's not this year, the next year you're going to start losing a little bit of speed. And sometimes it doesn't show up as a safety because now you know what you're looking at and you can compensate for the loss of speed. A half a step here, half a step there. Well, you're getting there before. I can tell you right now, Anthony Dorsett, I couldn't beat that guy with my eyes closed. I'm on the other side of the field. I beat him to the play every time. And he's on the side of this going to because he didn't know where he's supposed to be looking. But if we was going athlete to athlete, I couldn't touch that guy with a silver spoon. Not at all. I used to be, dang, man. Woo, if I had Anthony Dorsett jeans, they would have HOF behind my name. So, yeah. So you know, I just feel like that should happen. I don't know if that's favorable for the Titans and the salary cap, and I'm not going to act like I'm a salary cap guru and all that because I'm not. And trying to make it work for an elite player, potentially a Hall of Fame player. In my mind right now, he's probably past Michael Griffin is the best safety in Titans history.
Most interceptions, he passed him this past year.
Guess what? You're getting to see the dirty business of the NFL. Nobody cares about that, of the organization. We're trying to fix something and move forward, and it doesn't matter who's in the way. We got a big old semi-truck, and if we say jump, you got to say ha-ha. Mm-hmm. For them to even approach him after having that kind of a season. That shows you where this game is at. So it's just, you know, that's the nature of the business is pro. He's got to be a pro, and I get it. But maybe money isn't as important to him as far as taking a cut, or maybe he even may get less. Because guess what? Imagine what if they waited till training camp to cut him? Then he's pissed now. He's pissed. He's on a Lamar Jackson piss level. And now he's screwed. He's nuts and bolts. He may have to go somewhere and play for $5 million, $8 million. Yeah. See, so they, like I always say, the team always has the leverage. Now, it's a matter if they want to pull the trigger. And great players usually get the benefit of the doubt. And he is definitely on that plane. So I hope it works out. I really do.
I think a lot of Titans fans hoping that very same thing. And you, of all people, same position, same team, a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
You
say he's a ball hawk. But I got injured my last year.
Yeah.
And I never missed hardly any games.
Yeah.
And, but Liz Frank's injury in my foot, I didn't even know what it was. I was like, one day I just couldn't run. And somebody just stepped on my foot. Torrey Holt in preseason. Stepped on my foot in St. Louis. Yep, and I thought it was nothing. I was like, man, I'll be fine. He's like, we won't play the last 2 preseason games. Yep, I'll be great. I was running. I could run for a day, and then the next day I can't even run.
Lucas says we got to run. So here's what we'll do. We'll take this break. Ben McKee is going to be with us when we come back. Tennessee still out there, Sweet 16 bound. Let's get the latest from our buddy Ben McKee coming up. Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone. Let's talk a little hoops as March Madness rages on, and it rages on with the Tennessee Vols. And who better to talk about it than our man Ben McKee at Ben McKee 14. Go Vols 247. Ben, just like everybody had it, Tennessee and FAU against each other in the Sweet 16.
That's right. I don't think anybody expected Tennessee to beat Duke on Saturday, but it happened, and it has stirred up quite the conversation since. But Tennessee was certainly capable of making it to the Sweet 16. It was just a matter of if they could piece all the puzzles together at the right time, and they found a way to do so. Even though that opener against Louisiana was kind of ugly there in the second half, and the offense was perfectly fine against Duke. They didn't turn the basketball over, and they let their defense do the work for them. So if they play like they did against Duke on Thursday night against Florida Atlantic, and then can repeat that against Kansas State or Michigan State on Saturday, I guarantee you they'll be playing in the Final Four.
Boy, wouldn't that be something? So you just mentioned the double F word, Final and Four. Where and take into account no Zakai Ziegler, where's this team as far as if you had the expectation scale? Where do they sit on that scale right now with what they've accomplished?
I think that is a great question. Obviously, I mean, you ask great questions, so I'm not surprised whatsoever.
I was due for one anyway.
That's right. Just like Rick Barnes was due to make another Sweet 16.
100%.
Nice comeback. Yeah.
I think right now they're kind of in a nice little safe space of if they were to lose to FAU, it would be very disappointing because you didn't really take advantage of the bracket falling in your favor. Although I don't know that would necessarily be a fair argument either, though, because I think FAU is a legitimate basketball team. Don't get caught up on the name on the front of the jersey. That they are really, really good. They may not be a Duke or one of these other teams or one of the best teams in the bracket or in the country, but they were arguably the best mid-major team in the country, and it is more than a worthy opponent is what I'm getting to. It's not Fairleigh Dickinson. If they would have played Fairleigh Dickinson and you lose that, then you ought to be ashamed of yourself for not taking advantage of the bracket. But FAU is a legitimate opponent. So I think right now they're kind of in a safe space of if they were to lose to FAU on Thursday night, then it was a pretty successful season. It wasn't overly successful, but I also don't think that you necessarily failed. I wouldn't want to use the F word. Speaking of F words, I wouldn't want to use that F word, that they failed to meet expectations this season, especially after the way Zakai Ziegler obviously tore his ACL and his season ended too soon. To make it to the Sweet 16 and to go through Duke the way that they did, despite not having Zakai Ziegler and kind of rallying around one another when practically the entire college basketball world was doubting them, including some of their own fans. I think there's a lot to be said for making the Sweet 16 under those circumstances. And also my expectations for this team has kind of changed over the course of the season. I do think they have the talent to go to an Elite Eight and possibly the Final Four. I think that's a more interesting conversation if they have Final Four level talent, but certainly Elite Eight level talent. And you're right here at the front door. So I feel like they're in a safe space of not the most successful season ever, but also not something to be ashamed of.
We're in our safe space with Ben McKee at Ben McKee 14. Go Vols 247, covering everything Tennessee.
Well, the F word you were referring to there, Ben, was fouls. They didn't commit a lot of fouls in this game versus Duke, and the referees let them play, man. Do you think the referees are going to let them play the next game like that? Because you hear a lot of noise from the Duke fan base, and even Billis a little bit. You know, just the style of play, the physicality. You know, it looked like it was grown men playing against guys playing in AAU. Like, you know, they weren't used to that kind of play. So there were, I guess, it played in their favor with the refereeing to a certain extent. I can't say the whole game, but as far as the physicality, do you think they'll be able to do that again?
I think that Tennessee will do it again. I don't know that the refs are going to allow them to do it again. I have a bad feeling, and I was kind of thinking about this last night. I have a bad feeling that Tennessee is going to be dealing with a tight whistle on Thursday, regardless of who the refs are. I mean, we don't know who the refs are going to be until an hour or so before the game anyways. But it doesn't matter if it's Pat Adams, Ted Valentine, or anybody, any ref in America. Like there is a pretty noisy conversation surrounding this Tennessee basketball team, and I think it's unfair because I don't at all think that Tennessee was playing dirty basketball against Duke. I know Urosh was living life on the edge. There was certainly a little too much aggression from Urosh Plavšić. I'm not denying that, but I think it's a really, really bold statement to say that somebody's playing dirty, and he was not playing dirty. He was over aggressive, maybe a little too.
He was
physical.
flopping a little bit too.
Yes, they were. The first foul. I mean, Urosh definitely hip checked him. It was definitely a foul, but to call somebody dirty, I mean that's a pretty bold statement. And you know, Santiago Vescovi had the play where he swiped the basketball across the face of the Duke player, and that was a foul because when you're holding the basketball in that manner, your hands are considered a part of the basketball. So by the rules, that is considered a foul, and they got it right. But Santiago is not doing that on purpose to break the guy's nose or give him a nosebleed or anything like that. And Proctor, the young man from Duke, I mean, they roomed together at the NBA Academy in Australia. Like, they're good friends, and they roomed together for 6 months. Like, he's not intentionally trying to hurt him. There's no history of Santi playing that way, and he certainly wasn't on that particular play. And it's kind of been mind-blowing to see the reaction because you sit there and you watch it, and it's like, yes, you think it's a foul in real time, but that's all you think about. Like, you don't think that, oh, that was dirty. He was doing that intentionally. No, he was swiping through trying to get a foul with Proctor's hand stuck in the cookie jar. That's what he was trying to do, and he made contact with the nose, and it looked like he even kind of grazed the nose. But Filipowski was kind of flopping all over the place. And Tennessee was very physical, and I just did not think Duke was prepared to handle that physicality. And I kind of thought that Tennessee's physicality and experience was going to allow them to have more success against Duke than people realized, just because Duke is so young. They started 4 freshmen. Tennessee started 4 seniors. And then obviously because they're younger, and also the roster construction is different. Like, Tennessee is bigger and more physical and tougher than Duke. And I thought that was going to really play into Tennessee's favor. And if they could cut down on the turnovers, then I thought that they were going to win the basketball game. And they did all of that. And they've played the same way that they have all season long. And now all of a sudden, because it was against big bad Duke, it's Tennessee's dirty and Tennessee's doing too much, and the refs were giving Tennessee too much of the whistle. And I've honestly been blown away by the blowback Tennessee has received from that basketball game. I was sitting courtside, and outside of Urosh being a little too aggressive at times, the talk about Tennessee being dirty is just mind blowing.
Well, that's what happens when you're sore losers and you beat one of the blue bloods there like Dookie. But let's talk about some of the positive, man. Kamwa and his performance was, outstanding. You could talk a little bit about that, but I thought, Vescovi hit some critical shots, man. One-on-one there from the three-point line was big as well. So you kind of go down the list of different players you want to talk about in their performance.
Yeah, Olivier Kamwa, I mean, he had his moment in March. That's what that was on Saturday. That was the Olivier Kamwa game, and it's kind of unfortunate that this talk about Tennessee being dirty all of a sudden has taken away from his performance, because Tennessee and Duke definitely go down to the wire if Olivier doesn't go off in the second half the way that he did. But he left zero doubt that Tennessee was winning that basketball game with what he did in the second half, scoring 23 of his 27 points and scored 13 straight at one point. And it was after Duke had made it a 4-point basketball game with about 10 minutes or so to go that he scored those 13 straight points. And Santi had hit back-to-back threes, and Duke went into a zone because Santi had hit those back-to-back threes, and Olivier Cumwa busted that zone right up. He did it really at every single level. He was able to knock down some mid-range jumpers. He was able to get to the rim. He had that nasty put-back one-handed dunk that kind of put the dagger into Duke, and he was terrific from the three-point line as well. 3 of 4 from 3 there. He knocked down free throws. He grabbed rebounds, and it's pretty crazy. He scored 27, tied a career high 27 points in 22 minutes. 27 points in 22 minutes, and then 23 points in the second half in 16 minutes. I mean, he was just unbelievable. But what he was able to do, those first couple of shots that he knocked down when Duke had gone to the zone and just after Duke kind of had built some momentum, I mean, that was the difference in the game. So Olivier Cumwa certainly led Tennessee to the Sweet 16 by his performance, but as a group, they did what they needed to do offensively to pair with the defense that has been there all season. But turnovers have been an issue with this basketball team, and they only had 9 turnovers against Duke. 9 turnovers, which was a miracle, it felt like, just because of how high the turnover amounts had been the last couple of games. And then they turned over Duke 15 times for 18 points off of those turnovers. And then they were able to knock down some threes as well. Santi was 4 of 8. Olivier was 3 of 4. Josiah Jordan-James, he hit 1 3, but it was kind of right at the start of the second half to set the tone after Tennessee had taken the momentum into halftime. I thought that 3 to start the second half was important to kind of maintain that momentum. Tyreek Key hit a 3. So 9 made threes for Tennessee for the game to shoot 43%. And if they can shoot like that, they don't have to go crazy. They don't have to be Alabama from 3. They don't have to be Steph Curry. But if they can just kind of creep up on double digits, if they can get to 7, 8, 9, and they keep those turnovers to single digits, and they pair that offense with this defense and the way it played against Duke, and like I said earlier, I think they will be playing for a Final Four if they can do that these next 2 games.
Yeah, the Final Four for Australian rugby rules, so make sure they know all that, right?
Yeah.
That's right. And, of course, Rick Barnes had the all-time great old man response earlier today, saying that back in 1990 or whatever it was, he took a Big East all-star team, which I didn't know those existed. He took one of those teams to Australia to watch the Australian rugby, and that he enjoyed it, and he'd even go pay to see it now. So Rick Barnes being Rick Barnes with that quote, and it did seem that like Dusty May was kind of tongue-in-cheek and just messing around more so than anything else. But to your question earlier, I mean, I think it's going to be fascinating to see if the refs allow Tennessee to play its game. And if I'm a Tennessee fan, then I'm very, very concerned because of the conversation surrounding Tennessee basketball that they're not going to allow them to do so.
Ben McKee, our guest at Ben McKee 14, Go Vols 247. I guess the SEC still has the most remaining teams in the tournament with 3 after 5 are knocked out. So did you have Alabama along with Tennessee and Arkansas as your 3 last standing from the conference, Ben?
I did not. I guess technically I did actually have Tennessee now that I think about it. Okay. I actually had Tennessee beating Memphis in the Sweet 16 and then losing to Marquette in the Elite 8. So I did think Tennessee would make it this far because I thought that Tennessee's experience would overwhelm Duke, and I thought their physicality would overwhelm Duke as well. And then I kind of thought for those same reasons that they'd be able to slow down Kendrick Davis of Memphis, but FAU was able to do that with that thrilling last-second shot that they made at the buzzer to knock off Memphis. And I had Alabama, I think, in the Final Four. I mean, it's pretty obvious at this point that they're the best team in the country and certainly the best team remaining in the tournament. It's just a matter of if they stub their toe or not. I think if they show up and play their A game, play their best basketball game in and game out, then they're probably going to win the national championship because they are the best team in the country. But we also know that March Madness does not work like that. And I really think that San Diego State is going to be an issue for them this upcoming weekend. I'm not necessarily saying that San Diego State is going to win, but they were down in Orlando this weekend as well and knocked off Furman, beat Furman down. And just watching them up close and in person, they've got some some big, athletic, long dudes that I think can present Alabama with the same issues that Alabama presents for other teams. That's what. Yes, they have Brandon Miller, but like Charles Bediako and some of those other former 4-stars and 5-stars, they're long and athletic and very strong. And I think San Diego State has some guys that fit that same mold that could potentially give them some issues. So that'll be a fascinating game. And I did not have Arkansas making it. I had them losing to Kansas. So that one's on me, Arkansas.
Hey, Musselman will lose his shirt and will find the Elite Eight. That dude will get it done. Eric points out, or Nick rather, in the Zone TV chat, Big East and the SEC. I meant tied. They both have 3 teams left.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. I guess real quick, give us a little 411 information on Florida Atlantic, FAU, and the Owls and how they match up with Tennessee.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Like I said earlier, FAU was one of the better mid-major teams this season, if not the best.
33-3, man.
Yeah,
33-3.
Team of the year, coach.
Yeah. That says it all. I mean, I don't care where you're playing. Winning 33 games is remarkable, and they set a lot of program records this season. 33 wins, as you all just mentioned. That's the most ever for them. This is their second ever tournament appearance and the furthest they've ever made it in the tournament. They won a record 18 conference games and most ever home wins and on and on and on. They won the regular season championship in their conference. They won the conference tournament. They were ranked in the top 25 for the first time, and they do a lot of things well, as you can imagine. They finished top in the country in bench points per game. They were tied for 3rd in winning percentage. They're 9th in 3-pointers per game made, 10th in scoring margin, 16th in defensive rebounding, 17th in effective field goal percentage. They do a lot of things well, and those were some offensive stats, but also on the defensive side, they're 38th in field goal percentage defense as well. And they've done something that Tennessee has not done this season, and that's beat Florida. They did lose to Ole Miss to start the season, but then a couple of days later, they did go into Gainesville and beat Florida 76-74. And that was November 14th, so several months ago, and they're a different basketball team now than they were then. But again, Tennessee was not able to go into Gainesville. So don't be misconstrued or confused by the name on the jersey. Florida Atlantic is a very worthy opponent, and Tennessee's going to have to play their best basketball. You saw Janelle Davis go off last night for them against Fairleigh Dickinson. He was the Conference USA 6th man of the year, and he enjoyed somewhat of a breakout season. He's good on both ends of the floor. They have a lot of guards that shoot it really well, and Tennessee's perimeter defense is going to have to be on point if they want to avoid being upset as well.
Ben, fantastic stuff, man. At Ben McKee 14, Go Vols 247 for all the latest from you and your crew. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Have a great week.
Yes, sir. The one and only Ben McKee. Always great having him on the show. When we come back, one of the new Titans called the current Titans defensive line a name, and you're going to love it.
Next.
Name? Mm-hmm. Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone, Monday afternoon. Hope you had your plants covered these last couple of nights. It's been chilly.
Chilly. It's an understatement, man.
Yeah.
It was like 19 this morning. I mean, yesterday morning.
Yeah, I think it was this morning, too.
Was it?
We got one peony in our yard, and my wife is like, do everything you can to keep that thing alive. You know what a peony is?
No. What is
Looks
that?
like an alien growing out of the ground.
Okay. Like, right.
It grows into this huge flower with these big pink, huge flowers. Smells fantastic.
Oh.
Fantastic.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Isn't that when it says like spring is here?
It looks like an alien growing out of the ground. When you see the alien start to immerse itself from the ground, then you know.
I never known that it was a pink alien.
The peony is a pink alien that grows out of the dirt. I covered that thing with a bucket the last 3 nights. I hope for my sake it has survived. Arden Key, among the new Titans introduced today, they all spoke down at the Titans facility, down at the Fortress of Solitude down there. Arden Key had some nice things to say about his defensive line mates, and he thinks they're bullies, right, Lucas? Let's hear from Arden Key from earlier today.
You see that D-line? I mean, Big Jeff, the Nico Autry, Harold Landry coming back on the edge. I mean, it was self-explanatory there, just being with those guys and playing against Tennessee. It was always Tennessee D-line was bullies. Like, that's how they played. Everything was a bully. We're going to bully the offensive lineman. That's the type of play I play with. I'm a bully on the football field, and I feel like I fit right in with these guys.
He's a bully, Blaine. He likes bullies, and he's joining bullies.
Yeah. So he just fits right on in there.
That's what he said.
Well, the bully D-line.
That's what he said. They need to get one of those bullies paid, though, Big Jeff.
Well, I'm going to say this. They don't have to do anything.
That's true, because
people act like his contract is up. His contract is not up.
Oh, it's not up.
He has 1 more year.
And then they could franchise him.
They got 2 more years.
Then they could franchise him.
It would behoove them to do his contract. It would, really.
Yes.
But they hadn't shown, and this is Rand News, he's on his own new show now as far as the GM. But previous GMs hadn't done this. I'm a big proponent of signing the guys that are elite like Big Jeff this year, for sure. And you get them hopefully for cheap, but they not going to get him for cheap. Like, cheap mean like 22. He may get 25.
Who was the guy that just got 22.5 while you were gone last week?
Not Chris Jones.
Oh, Lucas.
What team? Name me the team.
The Redskins, Command Skins.
Oh, yeah. One of the Alabama guys.
He got 22.5.
Yeah. So is
Deron Payne?
Deron Payne. He got 22.5, which is the
Birmingham kid.
He got the second highest guarantee ever. And what did he get? 90 total?
Yeah, 90.
Which is the second highest total ever. So 90 is the second highest total.
What's this?
Behind you-know-who got 31.66 a year.
Right.
So the 22.5 and the 90 or whatever, he's number 2 in both.
So he got more than Chris Jones then, which is an old contract.
Yeah.
I think Chris is making for the Chiefs like 20, 21. But where would you rank statistically Big Jeff's numbers compared to Payne?
Payne had 11.5 sacks last year, I think.
11.5?
Talking about Arden Key? Or Deron Payne?
I'm sorry, Key. Key had
4.5 for Jacksonville.
No, I'm talking about Payne.
I'm talking about Deron Payne.
Oh,
Payne.
Sorry.
Comparing him to Jeff.
Just now.
I know.
Deron Major Payne. Sorry, I got a lot of people.
Putting the Payne on him. Yeah, Payne. What was his numbers compared to Big Jeff?
They have about the same average number of sacks. This was crazy.
Over their career?
They both averaged like between 5 and 6 sacks. But
Payne had 11.5.
But last year, Payne had last year he had 11.5.
Yeah, and then
5, 2, 3, 4.5, and then 11.5.
Yeah, he had his biggest year by far. And then Quinnen Williams was incredibly productive last season too. Neither of those guys were as hampered by injuries as Jeff was. Jeff obviously had to play through some stuff.
Stop that. No, nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about that. He played. See, and that's the difference. I've been saying this the whole entire. They don't care. Nobody's sitting at the film like, well, he was hurt. His ankle was only 50%. Nobody's saying that. Nobody's going, woe is me. It is what it is. That's why guys don't play injured. This is exactly why, because he wasn't the same player. It was pretty obvious to us who's watching him game by game. They're not going to give him a discount because, we know you played hurt for us. Yeah, come on, man. No, it's not going to work that way. So after hearing these names, I don't know if Big Jeff is going to get 23, like more than them.
What is Quentin Williams going to
Quentin Williams, hey, man, I put him up. I would say I think he's just as good as Big Jeff and maybe a little bit better, maybe a pass rusher.
Spot Track shows him 4 for 100, so 25 per year.
I don't know if Jeff is
shut this book right there. 4 for 100, Quentin Williams.
I forgot about he was first one. Yeah.
Hey, man. That's what, if I'm Big Jeff's agent, I'm like, hey, man, 4.25 each. That's the.
I'd be like, Jeff, we got to get this team right first. So I don't want to put you around some sorry players. So we may have to pause this and wait till next year.
No, Big Jeff's going to be like, I'm going to have a sit-in in camp, though.
No, you can't sit in. You either got to be here or go.
Well, we got to go.
Yeah, and that's when he going to get fined. But in the meantime.
In between time.
Peace.